Cikgu Rizam,
Ya.
kita nak mula lagi 5 minit boleh?
Boleh. Cikgu Bobby dah masuk ke?
Masa dah ada tadi nampak.
Okay, saya kat sini.
Oh, Cikgu Bobby dah masuk.
Saya kat sini
Okey.
ya.
Okey, Cikgu Baizura lagi berapa minit? 5 ya?
Ya, ya. Sebab budak
Okey.
ada yang baru nak bertenang.
Oh, baiklah. Diharapkan anak-anak murid cikgu dapat duduk dalam keadaan tenang tenang, aman insya-Allah Kalau rasa nak air mineral bolehlah minta guru-guru masing-masing di sekolah Kalau nak minum lah dan sebagainya. Budak Mahat ni, SMKA Mahat Muar mana? Ada? SMKA Mahat Muar. Raise your hand. Oh.
Angkat tangan.
Boleh juga angkat tangan. Alhamdulillah ramai orangnya. Percubaan suara. Okey, SMK Bukit Naning, dengar tak suara saya di sini? SMK Bukit Naning, dia suruh test suara tu. SMK Bukit Naning. SMK Bukit Naning, Muar Alhamdulillah. SMK Datuk Seri Aman Raja Muar. Respon, alhamdulillah. Diharapkan anak murid yang dikasihi dapatlah menguatkan semangat untuk menghadapi peperiksaan SPM Masa sekarang masa getir-getir kan. So kita tunggu lagi respon daripada pihak penganjur ya. Okey, Aziz.
Saya tutup saja kamera.
Okey, Cikgu Rizam, kita boleh sekarang ke bawah.
Okey, boleh Cikgu Baizura?
Ya, sila Cikgu.
Terima kasih Cikgu. Diharapkan anak murid cikgu yang cikgu kasihi dapatlah bertenang. Bukan bertendang bertenang. Dan kita ikuti slot yang kedua iaitu slot bahasa Inggeris. Baik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat datang dan juga salam sejahtera Selamat datang ke Seminar Teknik Menjawab Kecemerlangan SPM bagi tahun 2021. Untuk mata pelajaran bahasa Inggeris. Kita slot yang kedua ni slot bahasa Inggeris dan alhamdulillah kita panjatkan kesyukuran kehadirat Allah SWT kerana dengan limpah kurnia dan izin pada pagi yang indah ini dapatlah kita berkumpul sekali lagi untuk mengikuti slot ataupun bahagian kedua iaitu teknik ataupun berkaitan dengan kemahiran menjawab soalan kertas bahasa Inggeris dengan lebih tepat dan betul lah. Baik, sebelum kita teruskan atau sebelum saya teruskan program ini dengan lebih lanjut lagi, eloklah saya kongsikan sedikit latar belakang penceramah pada hari ini. Baik, untuk pengetahuan sedang ataupun rakan-rakan seperjuangan, rakan-rakan guru dan juga anak didik yang saya kasihi sekalian. Baik, penceramah kita nama diberi Bobby Chan Si Ing, ataupun Cikgu Bobby Cikgu. Right, Cikgu Bobby. Dan beliau berpendidikan ijazah sarjana muda pendidikan TESOL daripada UTM dan mempunyai master pendidikan dalam TESOL juga di universiti yang sama iaitu UTM juga. Untuk pengetahuan semua, beliau juga merupakan JU utama SPM ataupun lebih kepada fokus pada bahasa Inggeris lah untuk subjek beliau di peringkat daerah Johor Bahru. Dan untuk pengetahuan semua, beliau juga merupakan ketua pasukan bagi subjek bahasa Inggeris lah untuk kertas 1 di peringkat SPM. Okey, saya tak nak buang masa. Untuk itu saya mempersilakan dan saya serahkan majlis ini kepada Cikgu Bobby untuk seminar perbengkelan dan sebagainya. Dipersilakan Cikgu.
Alright, terima kasih Cikgu Rizam. Alright, can you hear my voice? Is it clear?
Is that clear? Yes.
Okay, alright. Okay, a very good morning to all the teachers as well as students. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's begin. So I'm going to share with you a few things now. So I think that up to this point, you are very clear of what you are sitting for. So your exam is coming soon, right? So can I see the show of hands if you are ready for your exam? I can only see some of you on my screen, but if you're ready for your exam, can you just raise your hands? Okay, very good. And the rest of you students, can you wave or do something? Okay, all right, okay, only a few. Okay, right, I hope my voice is quite clear, and I hope the connection will be okay. So let's begin. Okay, so there are a few things that you might want to remember or you might want to recall for the exam. Okay, so we are going to talk about CFR. So you have to focus on 4 things, basically. So you have a few skills that you have to master since Form 4, actually since Form 1. So first one, you have paper 1 reading, then paper 2, you have writing, paper 3, you have speaking, and paper 4, you have listening. So these are the 4 papers that you have to sit for. Okay, so bear in mind, you have to turn up for every paper because it will affect your marks if you don't sit for any paper, okay, at this point. So for paper 1, you have reading. So you have 40 marks, which will be converted later. So for paper 2, you have 60 marks. For paper 3, you have 24 marks. For paper 4, you have 30. Okay, so all the weightage will be different, but everything will be converted into percentage, which will give you 25% for every paper. Okay, and the time is very, very crucial for you to know because you have to maximize the use of time, and then you have to make sure you can optimize the use of time as well. So for reading, you have 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay, so which means you have more than enough time to answer 40 questions. Then for writing here is a bit critical because you have 1 hour 30 minutes. But if you know how to use your time properly, it will be more than enough. Okay, so if you average it up, so you have 3 sections you have to answer. You have 3 parts. So averagely, you can use about 30 minutes for every paper. Okay, then for speaking, 13 minutes. 13 only 3 minutes, and then I will explain a few things to you later. Then for listening, you have 40 minutes. So generally, you have to manage your time well, especially for writing. Okay, so we'll talk about this. So without further ado, we go into your paper 1. Okay, paper 1, it would be, I would say it should be one of the easiest papers. Okay, for those who have no problem with reading and for those who can understand well. Okay, so you have 5 parts you have to answer. The first one will be the short text. So do not just mind tikam. Okay, so it's not a matter of just mind tikam or guessing game here. So you have 8 marks that you have to score. And then for part 2, you have rational clothes, 10 marks. For part 3, you have extended reading comprehension. You have 8 marks here. So this is why you see the very long text. Okay, then for part 4, you have gap text. So you have done this in Form 3 as well. You have done this in your PD3 as well. So basically, they are almost similar. But if you've done a lot of practices, if you've done this with your teachers in class, this shouldn't be much of a problem. Then for part 5, it will be matching and information transfer. So overall, this will be 40 marks. So you have to answer every question. And then there will be this answer sheet where you have to fill up in the end. Okay, make sure your handwriting is very neat. Make sure you answer everything. Make sure you blacken every answer that you have to blacken. Okay, so for part 1, short text. So very easy. You have only 3 options given to you. Basically, this would be the reminders. I'm just going through very quickly. Yeah. So you have questions such as notices, text messages, dialogues, and so on. So read everything. So pay attention to the small print and footnotes. So including the very small thing at the bottom of every question. Sometimes you may have clues given there. Okay, for example, written by, printed by, or maybe the website addresses. So be careful with those. Okay, then understand well before deciding on the correct answer. Okay, analyze the options because some statements may be very similar. So when you were in Form 3, the 3 options given could be a bit different. So the correct answer would be very obvious. But in SPM, so maybe all the 3 options or the 4 options given to you may be very similar, or they could be very close. And if you read the questions, the instruction is choose the best answer. Okay, the best answer. Maybe all the 4 answers could be correct, but you have to choose the best one, the most relevant one. Okay, and then what you do is you eliminate the unlikely options. So maybe you can have if you have 4 options given to you, and then you find that there are 2 that are actually not relevant, you may want to cross them out. So you have only 2 left. So you have to make a choice between the 2, which is not that difficult to choose from. Okay, so I will not go through every question with you. I understand that you have received a whole set. Okay, so we are going through very quickly because we have only 2 hours. My focus will be very much on writing paper. Okay, so right now I'll give you about 5-6 minutes. You can easily finish the 8 questions first. Will that be okay? Whoever's done, you can raise your hand first. Okay, so I think it's 11:17 or 11:22, 11:22. I will discuss the 8 questions with you first. Okay, my purpose is not to answer the questions with you. It's just for you to train yourself a bit.
Cikgu Bobby.
Yes.
Okay, ada sekolah ni dia minta Cikgu Bobby slow sikit.
Oh, slow sikit eh?
Ya, dia macam laju.
Okay, so there's echo. Okay, sure. Okay, sorry Bukit Naning. So if you're done, you can raise your hand so I can see you from the screen. Okay, very good. Someone's done. Okay, few more done. Okay, very good. Okay, so right? So for those who are done. Okay, now you have this question. So this will be the stimulus given to you. Children must not be left unattended. Okay, we start discussing. I don't want to waste too much time. Okay, because later I do have some slides to discuss on the other three skills. Okay, so the keyword here is attended, unattended. Okay, so if you understood the meaning of the word unattended here, so attend means you menghadiri biasanya, okay? But the thing is, attended here means if you attend to someone, even you can attend to a phone call, you can attend to your friend who visits you. Okay, so in this case here, children. So children must not be left unattended. Okay, I suppose, I'm not sure how I can check your answers with you, but I'll just discuss the answer with you. So children must sit down quietly. This doesn't sound too wrong, but in this case here, you have to look at the question, at the stimulus given here. Okay, then are not allowed to walk around. Nothing mentioned about walking around. They can walk around, but meaning they have to be with someone. So in this case here, the answer is C. So if you have chosen C, then you are correct. Must be accompanied. So in this case, you have to understand that the meaning should be rather similar or the same. Okay, so I move on to the next question. Okay, so you have this. So you have the question of for 1,500 ringgit, you will be able to enjoy. Okay, if you notice here, accommodation for 5 days. Okay, then you have 30 sessions of foot massages. And then you can see that it can be a bit confusing. Here is free 30 minutes. It's not free 30 sessions. So if you want to eliminate, like what we mentioned just now, you can cross this one out. So which means this will not be the correct answer. Okay? Then free meals for the entire stay. So if you look at this, do you have free meals for the entire stay? Maybe no, maybe yes. Okay? So let's look at the answer. You have accommodation for 5 days, correct? It's 5 day, 4 night. It's written here. But you don't have free meals for the entire stay because you have only daily breakfast. So if you have actually eliminated this, you have crossed them out, so you know that the answer is A. Very simple. Okay? So I will check the other answers with you very quickly, and we can move on to the next part. So this one, you have 20 people drowned in the worst flood that hit the village of Hero. It had rained continuously for 4 days. The surviving villagers were evacuated to Taka Relief Center. So from the news report, we know that some flood victims had drowned. So this will be the keyword given to you, drown. And then some people, 20 people, they drowned. Okay, they have drowned. Right, so that is 3A. Okay, then number 4. Okay, so you have, what is the main message here? So this will be the tricky one. What is the main message? Because if you look through, forests are valuable habitats for man and wildlife. Deforestation will lead to global warming. The indigenous people need plants to live. So if you take note, the 3 options here, they are not totally wrong. Okay, they're not totally wrong. But the question is asking you on the main message here. But if you do not read the whole thing, you might be thinking this can be correct, B can be correct, and C can be correct as well. Okay, so let's go through the text very quickly. Destruction of forests also destroys the source of life of the indigenous people who live in these forests. The forest is their home, the source of food, shelter, and livelihood. So you have the word source of life, the phrase here, and then you have the word live, home, source again, then shelter and livelihood. So it tells you a big thing here, meaning the dependency. They depend a lot on this, okay? When forests are cleared, these people are expelled from their homes. So the word expel, if you know when people are expelled from school, means they dibuang sekolah. So expel here means they are chased out or they are forced out from their homes, which they have lived for years. Okay, so in this case, A, B, C, if you have chosen A, then your answer is correct. Okay, so they are valuable habitats for man and for wildlife. Because if you look at this, the 3 lines here, the 4 lines here, they talk a lot about living there. Then they depend a lot on forests. Okay, so 5, 6, Okay, I'll just go through. You can check the answers. Number 5, the answer is only bicycles are allowed on this road. So if you have this, very good. The keyword will be strictly. And then here you have to read a lot. Okay, so now in SPM, it can be a bit, I mean, the stimulus will not be as short as this. Sometimes you have to read a very long text just to get a very simple answer. Okay, so which means you cannot just mind tikam. You have to read, you have to understand. Okay, so from the extract, we know that Osman started his career as a sportsman, has gained wealth through his hobby, is now stationed at Bukit Merah. So if you have gone through, then you will know that he has gained wealth through his hobby. Okay, from his hobby in sports, okay, or playing sports, he has now gained wealth through doing it. Okay, next one. So this table is actually just a decoy because you are actually looking at the word decreased here. So without looking at the table, basically you can guess. Decreased, you have the word improve, reduce, stagnated. So you may be stuck when it comes to this word stagnated. So stagnated means not moving, very still. Okay, S-T-I-L-L. Okay, very still, kekal. So that's stagnated. So here the answer is reduced. Okay. Next, I can't make up my mind whether to wear the black pants or the blue dress to the party. So the idea here is can't make up my mind. So if a person cannot make up his or her mind, the person is very uncertain. Okay. So if you have gotten all 8, very good, congrats. So like what I mentioned, I will not discuss everything because this is paper 1. We only have about 1 hour, 30 minutes for the whole thing. Huh? Okay, so next section, this will be part 2, rational clues. So basically, this part will test you on grammar and vocab, and then a lot of grammatical items, for example, tenses, prepositions, then vocab. Vocabulary may be the thematic vocab. Okay, if the text is something to do with pollution, maybe you have a lot of words to do with pollution. If the text is something to do with shopping, then you have words to do with shopping. So these are the things you have to know. And then if you remember, your teacher has started with Form 4 full blast as well as Form 5 textbook, the download. And the topics are very, very thematic. Okay, so my advice is, since you are still having your textbook with you, the Form 5 download, you can go through the reading text, because every unit has a very different and very specific genre and theme. For example, shopping. For example, sports. For example, mysteries. So these are the words that you may need, okay, when you are answering questions as well as when you are writing your essays. Okay. So for the strategies, you read through the text, then you pay attention to the words or sentences before and after the blank. So this is quite important here. You have to look at the words and sentences before and after the blank, okay, as well as the type of tenses being used. Is it a present tense? Okay, the text. Is the text written in past tense, or is the text written in a very general way? It could be a mixture of present and past tense. Okay, then study the options and eliminate the unlikely ones. So this is very similar to the one just now. So whatever choices that may seem very odd or very strange, or you think that they are not relevant, you can eliminate. You can just cross them out. Then make sure the option you have chosen is one of the tense, the same tense, or fits the rest of the sentence. So this was what I mentioned to you just now. Okay, check on the consistency of the tenses being used. Then read through the text again and check if your answers make sense. You have to read and reread. Okay, so the time given to you, 1 hour and 30 minutes, will be sufficient, and then you have enough time to read and then reread just to make sure you have chosen the correct answer. Okay, so now we have something here. It's on anger. You may have seen this before, but let's look at the tenses. Anger is a normal human emotion that tells us, you can see, it's a present tense. For example, we may be angry. So, however, it is important. So it is. The belief is that it is healthy. Studies have shown. So very general from the very beginning up to this part, you can see that the tenses being used, they are of present tense. Okay, present tense, and then very consistent. So people who are chronically angry are twice as likely to. So coming to paragraph 3, it is important, therefore. They are certain. So until the end, we can, it may, this allows. So you know, most probably the whole text is using present tense. Okay, so that is your first identification of rational clause. Okay, so now I'll give you about 2-3 minutes to check your to do your answers, to answer them, and then I'll discuss with you at around 11:33 or 34. You have 10 questions here. Okay, so let's look at this one. Huh? So for example, here we may be angry when we are treated unfairly or when we are under stress. However, it's important for us to deal. So the answer is with anger. If you notice, so I think you know the phrasal verb, right? So deal with, normally you have them together. Deal with anger, deal with someone, dealing with a business supplier. So it's actually a phrasal verb. So deal. You don't say deal from, you don't say deal to. So they come together. Deal with. It can be dealing with your anger, dealing with your love, dealing with your feelings, and so on. So deal with. Okay, next, the belief is that it is healthy to let off steam. So again, this is a phrasal verb, let off steam and release anger no longer. You have no longer holds up. Okay, so the belief no longer holds up. If you cross out the middle part, the belief no longer holds up. Okay, so this one again is also a package here, a phrasal verb. Next, studies have shown that discharge anger can. So you have options given to you. So you have options given to you: effect, cause, reason, and effect. So if you are very sure of the differences between effect and effect, then you can actually know one, right? Then you have also words such as cause and reason. So is it can cause or is it can affect health risks? So if you chose affect, but don't forget there is one word here, risks. Okay, so this one will be a noun already. So can cause something, can affect, you can affect people, can affect your health, but you don't you don't say can affect health risks. Okay, so here the answer is cause. Okay, next, this you have. Okay, so this here refers to one thing, singular. So this you have explains. So this is a very simple question, because this is one singular thing. So of course it takes an S. And then also it will not be in past tense because the whole text is written in present tense. So this explains why people with a hostile personality trait seem to have more health problems. People who are chronically angry are twice as likely to have heart attacks. Okay, as likely to do something, likely to go, likely to. Normally they come together. Okay, likely to die, likely to sing, likely to go, likely to finish the work. Okay, next, in another study, characteristically angry women are. So to be 4 times as likely to. So you see, it's the key. The clue is also given here as likely to. So they are the similar. So basically, if you read the second time, you can find the answer as well. Okay. So angry women are found. Okay. So are found to be 4 times as likely to have high cholesterol levels and be overweight than calmer ones. They tend to get more depressed, smoke more. So you have something that has to continue. So it'll be a conjunction here. So more depressed, calmer, smoke more, and argue more. Okay, so you have this. So the rest, I think you're assured of what I'm going to say. So you can check the answer. For 16, you have control. For 17, you have lose because of the base word. To, okay, lose our temper. Next one and the last one, you have to catch up. So there are a few here given to you to catch on, to catch up, and catch out. So you have to choose the correct one. You cannot catch with our emotions. It doesn't sound correct. Okay, it doesn't sound correct, as well as it's the wrong use of preposition there. So catch up with. You want to catch up with someone. You want to catch up with your best friend when he came back or when he comes back. So that will be the phrase. Okay, so check your answers. Okay, so next one will be the extended text reading comprehension. So here will be the longer text given to you. And then here, instead of 3, you have 4 multiple choice options. Okay, so you have to read the text at least twice. Okay, this is the general general guideline given to you. Read the text at least twice, underline the main idea, read the questions carefully, highlight the keywords. But in your exam, if you don't have time to do so, you just go through the questions first, then you can read the text once. Okay, so it depends on you. But since you have about 1 hour, 30 minutes, you do have time to do so. Huh? Okay, so very similar to the one just now. You just do that. And then you have a very long text here, which I will not let you do, okay, because we have only, about 1 hour plus left. Okay, so this one I think you can do with the teachers in class, okay, or maybe some of you have done this also before, but this is a very good text. So for those of you, you have the printed copy, let me just tell you, this is a very good text, very good story, and it has a lot of descriptive phrases, it has a lot of descriptions, a lot of feelings that you can actually use in your writing. So this will be a very good sample if you want to write a story. All right. So you can do with your teacher. Next one, the gap text. So gap text will be the tricky part in this reading paper. Okay. So many students, they might have problem with this because the moment you have one mistake, maybe one answer that is wrong, then maybe the other answer will be affected as well, because 8 options are given to you. Then you have to use 6, and then if you somehow misplace one of those, one of the alphabets, then the other one could be wrong as well. Okay, so the strategies you have to apply. So read through the gap text quickly to get a general idea. So first of all, don't answer first. The first round you do, just read through. Okay, read through the text, get a general idea of the text and purpose of the text. For example, get the gist of the text. Is it about friendship? Is it about activities? Is it about a hobby, or is it about food? So you need to know the general idea of the text first. Okay, then you read the 8 options given to you. So there will be A to H. So just read through what are they about. Okay, then when selecting an answer option to fill the gap, read a sentence before and after each gap. So this is very important here. You cannot simply just choose the responses first. Okay, you have to look at the previous sentence, the earlier sentence, and the after sentence. Then only you will know what you can choose to fit in the blank there. Okay, then fill in the easier ones first. Then through the process of elimination, fill in the remaining gaps. So if you think you are always doing elimination, it is not wrong. meaning you are always looking for answers that is not relevant, then you cross them out, you pangkah dulu, whatever's not relevant, that is correct. Okay, that is what you do. You will read, then you will see, oh, this answer macam tak ada kaitan. So you cross them. So that is the correct way to do. Okay, then read the text again with the fill-in gaps to see if it flows and makes sense. So you always have to read and reread. Even when you are done answering the question, do not be so confident saying that Allah dah siap. Okay, no. You have to read again so you will know that you are checking your responses. So there are two extra answer options that should not be used, and they are distractors. Okay, so two of them could be very, very relevant as well, but they are not. Okay. So what you can do is, after you read the text the first time, then you read again, you read this one, all the 8 options given to you, and you can highlight the key ideas. For example, these are the students. So if you look at the word these here, so these here would be referring to someone before that. So who are the students here? Or you can look at this, who likes studying at the 11th hour? Okay, so this can be an idea also. Okay, so when a task is perceived as long or difficult, so you will look at this idea, task. Okay, many will procrastinate simply because there is no immediate gratification. Okay, so I hope, I think some of you know the meaning of the word procrastinate. Means you like to delay. You like to say later lah, later, tak apalah, nanti lah. That is procrastinate. Okay, then gratification comes from what gratitude or grateful. So it means thankful, being thankful, or thankfulness. Okay, so remember the saying, procrastination is a thief of time, so stop procrastinating. So this line it sounds a bit like a conclusion. So maybe you want to reserve this for the end. Okay, next one, the employees who begin tasks at the last minute rarely perform as well as the non-procrastinating colleagues. So here you have employees who begin at, so it's talking about employees here. So it's a bit more specific, who begin tasks at the last minute. So maybe the previous line will be talking about employees or workers. Okay. Next one, some of us blame others or situations for our unhappiness or to avoid doing something. So this is a bit isolated. Okay, a bit isolated. So maybe you want to put this. Maybe you want to read it again later. Okay. Next, remind yourself of how good you will feel when your project is done, or when you have lost those 10 pounds. Okay, somehow isolated also, but once you have a few, then you can put them in. Next one, it's better to complete a task gradually by doing a little at a time. So here you have task completion. Okay. Next one, lack of time spent studying is a more desirable explanation for failure than lacking intelligence to learn something. So you have something to do with the lack of time. Okay, lack of time. So whenever you read, then you will know something that comes before that. Could be talking about time, or could be talking about the lack of time, or could be talking about someone who lacks time, right? So this one you can try. I'll give you about 3 minutes. You can try this. So just try, find out which is the answer for this 6 questions, for 27 to 32. Okay, done? All right, so I'll discuss this with you. So again, you have 6 options, sorry, 8 options, so 6 answers to fill in. So procrastination is the action of postponing or delaying something important to a later date. So most of us procrastinate now and then. We may make big plans such as cleaning the house or starting a diet, but never carry them out. We may feel reluctant to take risks or try something new. Okay, so while it's only an occasional problem for most, procrastination can be a chronic stumbling block for some. So what do you have here? So you have to see the word we here. Okay, so what we here, we may feel reluctant. Okay, so the answer is E. Okay, E, you have some of us blame others or situations for our unhappiness to avoid doing something. Okay, so this one here will be E. Then there are many reasons for procrastinating. The first is we may dread taking on a difficult or boring job. The other reason is fear of failure. Okay, then for example, we may put off dieting because it could take months to lose those pounds. So what do you have? If you have B, then your answer is correct. When a task is perceived as long or difficult, because you can see here, we may dread taking on a difficult or boring job. So the other reason is fear of failure. Then you have 10 months, not 10 months, take months to lose. So here is something to talk about long or difficult. Okay, so because it's too long, because it takes too long, because it's very difficult, so people will just put off the whole thing. So you see the word difficult is mentioned here, and then the word months is mentioned here. So it's actually B. Okay. Next, fear of failure often comes into play at school when performance is evaluated and can affect our future success. A student may put off studying for a test until the last minute. So here, what do you have? You have a student. You have studying. So something is relevant here. Okay. So if you have chosen H, lack of time spent studying. So something is quite relevant there. Studying. So lack of time spent studying is a more desirable explanation for failure than lacking intelligence to learn something. So basically, they are all linked, because if you're talking about something similar or something of the same topic, so in the same line, it is normally of the same topic as well. Unless when you see words such as however, on the other hand, so it can be a bit different. So if you don't see that, normally it's talking about the same thing. Okay. So question 30, procrastination causes stress, anxiety, and a feeling of failure. Students who fear failure ultimately face failure when they do not prepare for tests or start projects on time. So here you have 30. Okay. Then if you are a chronic procrastinator, you will not cure yourself in a day. In order to come out of the habit, you need to follow these steps. So you have students. Then you have, the focus is not just students. We are talking about stress, anxiety, and the feeling of failure. Okay. So the answer is D. So students, so here you have employees as well who begin tasks at the last minute, rarely perform as well. So we are talking about failure, rarely perform as well. So when they do not prepare, so it is the same idea with last minute, rarely perform well as well. Okay, so they are talking about the same thing. So that's why it's D. Okay, next one. So first figure out why you are procrastinating. Write down all the reasons why putting off your project will bring you one closer to failure. Next, break down the task into smaller jobs. If it is a 30-page paper due in 2 weeks, write down a goal of finishing 3 pages a night. Okay, then you have you have this one, jobs, then due in 2 weeks, then goal of finishing. So these will be the key ideas, the clue for you. So if you have chosen F, then you are right. Okay, remind yourself how good you will feel when the project is done. Finishing, due, finishing, done. Okay, so that will be the idea. So they are of the same category here. Next, tell your friends and family about your goals. If you have someone asking how your diet is coming along, it is more difficult to cheat. Okay, right. So you have, in conclusion, procrastination can cause you to miss opportunities and sabotage your future. So just now we talk about, excuse me, just now we talk about C. Okay, C as the conclusion. It sounds like a conclusion, it sounds like an ending. So it is the ending. So for this gut text, you do have to read once, then read the options given to you, then fill in your answers, then you have to reread again to make sure it sounds correct. And like what I mentioned to you since the beginning, so basically the points, they are talking about the same thing in every paragraph. That's why if you read through, then you think that, hey, just now it was talking about this, and suddenly my option is talking about something else, then maybe something is wrong somewhere. Okay, so here, if you have gotten 6 out of 6, very good. Okay, excuse me. So let's move on to the last part. The last part is pretty simple. Okay, information transfer. But I won't go through the whole thing with you. So just be careful with the options. Sometimes they may give you A, sometimes they may give you A, B, C. Sometimes it may be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Okay, so it may be 1, 2, 3, 4. But always be careful with this one. The question asked here. Okay, so some in the sample question given to us by Lembaga, it is paragraph. But who knows, they might change. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4. It may not be A, B, C, D, or they might change to the book genre, for example, or the person's name. It depends, because all this could happen. We never know. Okay, so I won't discuss this because it's very simple. Okay, here, question 37 to 40. So this will be not the tricky part, something that you really have to take note. For these 4 questions, you can only write no more than 1 word, which means only 1 word. Okay, so just 1 word. The moment you write 2 words, your answer will be incorrect. Okay, so make sure you remember this part. Don't copy panjang-panjang. Walaupun if you see the line is extremely long, you think you have to write more than 1 word. No, the answer is only 1 word. Okay, and the words must come from the text. So whenever you are done choosing the word, you have to reread the word. So reread the sentence, the statement, to make sure they make sense, okay? To make sure it makes sense. All right, so we are done with this. So I'm going on to paper 2. So for paper 2, I've given you some notes in the handout, okay? But we are not going to look at that first. We're going to look at the things on my slide. So if you have your notebooks and papers and whatever, okay, so you might want to take down some notes, okay? So for writing, so these will be the essays that you might have to write. So you have to write 3 parts, answer 3 parts. So first one will be a compulsory task. So far, it is all email. Okay, and then to a friend in about 80 words. So this is of the lower CFR level, which means it's quite simple. And this will be the easiest to score. Huh? Then part 2, you have another compulsory task. So you have to write an essay in about 150 words. Generally, it is a discussion topic. For example, your teacher asked you to do something, or your friends have discussed certain things with you during the holidays, and you're coming up with a solution or maybe suggestions. So you have to discuss that in your text, okay, in your answer. Then part 3, you have a choice. So you will be given 3 options. It can either be an article, a review, a report, or a story. So up to this point, I'm very sure your teachers have done this with you in class, because in your textbook you have all this, okay? The article, a review, a report, and a story, okay? So look at the number of words: 80 words, 150 words, then 250 words. And just now remember, let me bring you back to the timing. So you have 1 hour, 30 minutes. So if you want to split them into 3, you have 30 minutes for every essay. It's possible. But maybe you want to spend lesser time here. Maybe you want to say you spend about 20 minutes here, then you spend 30 minutes here, then you spend 40 minutes here, okay, which is logical as well, okay? So whatever happens, you have to answer all the 3 questions. And some of you who attend tuition classes, you may think, my tuition teacher say I have to answer this one, the review. I memorized review already. I have to write a review. So you spend a lot of time on your review, or you think you spend a lot of time on your story. You cannot control yourself. You go on and on. You tulis panjang because of the story. You memorize, you have learned, you practice, and somehow the question is relevant, then you memang want to score. But do not forget, you have this question you have to answer. Okay? And actually, all the questions will give you 20 marks here, 20 marks here, 20 marks here. So the what do you call it? The marks, the weightage will be the same. So this is the easiest for you to score. No matter how you write, if it sounds like an email, you answer the questions, you can easily score more than 15. But here, it will be more difficult for you to score. Here is the most difficult for you to score. Okay? So it's easier for you to score 18 out of 20 here than 18 out of 20 here. Okay? Because of the level A2, B1, B2. So when you answer part 3 here, examiner will expect something more. They expect a really B2 level essay. Okay, so which means this is the easiest to score. This is the second easiest to score. Don't waste this. Jangan bazirkan this. Because some students I know, okay, including my own students sometimes, they say, teacher, I memorized already. Teacher, I learned this already. I've written articles so many times. But the thing is, they do this article, they only score about 10. And then they forgot. They had no time to finish this. And this, they could easily score 15 or 16. Okay, so my advice is time management is very important. Okay, and then do not waste your first part and second part. Walaupun they seem very easy. Okay, so let us look at this example task. I think you have seen this so many times already. You receive an email from a new friend, Amy, and so on. So you have done this. So this will be the example task for part 1. Example task for part 2, the discussion. Okay, and example task for part 3. You have articles like this. And you also have reviews like this. And also you have a story like this. Okay, later we'll go into that more detail. Huh? So how will my essays be marked? The next one. So how do examiners mark your essays? Okay, so your teachers have marked your essays for since from 3, from 4, from 5, right? So we have this. If you see the paper, it will be all graded as C, CA, O, and L. Okay, so these are the 4 things you have to bear in mind. These are the 4 things examiners will look for as well. Okay, so if you see the content here is separated from the rest, so which means the content is not lebih penting. Okay, it's not lebih penting. It's just that content here is something that you have to really take note on. Okay, you really have to answer the content. Okay, so let me bring you to this one. The content. What do examiners look for? First of all, it refers to the fulfillment of task. Okay, whether or not you answer the question. Okay, how well you interpret the question, how relevant your response is. So if the question, like the email, there are 3 bullets, or in the last one there are 3 bullets, 3 bintik itu, you have to make sure you answer all those questions. Those bullets will be your points. Those bullets will be your marks. Then how well do you understand the question? Okay, so if the question is asking you to give advice, are you giving advice? Okay, if the question is asking you to go somewhere, suggest a place, are you giving suggestions? So that's what you have to do. Okay, like so this one. If you're asked to give advice, you must give advice rather than ask for advice. So if there are minor omissions, marks will be lower. If the examiner can detect that you are not answering question or you tidak paham soalan, of course your marks will be affected. It will go down. Contohnya, if there are 3 bullets there, you only answer 2. Normally, examiners will give you 3 out of 5. Okay, normally it will be 3 marks out of 5 marks here, which means you tidak menjawab soalan sepenuhnya. Okay, and then misinterpretation of task requirements will also lead to low scores for content. If you don't understand, if you salah paham soalan, it will affect. But the thing is, what will happen if you langsung tak menjawab soalan? So this is a question so far. We cannot come to a conclusion for this, yet. Okay, so if a candidate, if someone doesn't answer the question at all, memang terpesong langsung, there are 2 possibilities. One, you may get 0 for everything because you tidak menjawab soalan. Okay, or 1, There may be some minimal marks. Examiners will try to find very minimal marks. So my advice is understand the question, really fahamkan soalan, apa kehendak soalan, then you answer these questions properly. Okay, for example, if you come back to the question, later we'll discuss that. You have the 3 questions like where should we go? Okay, what should we do? What should we bring? Which means you have to answer all the 3 questions. Okay, now coming to the next one, the second criterion we look for will be your communicative achievement. So your communicative achievement refers, the word that is communication, which means there should be a communication in your essay. Okay, for example, who are the readers? First of all, your reader is of course your examiner. Okay, your penanda kertas will be your audience. And then also, if you're writing a letter to Lily, then Lily will be your receiver, will be your reader. Okay, you have to take note of that as well. So there must be a communication, like what you want to tell the friend or what you want to tell the students. Contohnya, if the question is write an article to your friends in school, so your audience will be your friends. So how do you talk to them? Okay, so is your text the right type? So if the question is an article, you have to make sure you are writing an article. If it's a report, you have to write a report. Okay, same thing goes for review and a story. And if it's an email, it should sound like an email because it's a communication thing here. Even the sound, the bentuk mesti correct. Okay, so how intelligent are your ideas here? It does not mean your ideas are intelligent or stupid, not that. Meaning, can people understand it very easily? Are you able to talk about your ideas in a very easy way for people to understand? It does not mean using simple English. It simply means, can people understand what you are trying to say? Some people cannot. Some people, they will just beat around the bush. They'll pusing satu padang, pusing satu hutan. Then orang baru paham, oh, rupa-rupanya this is a story. So that will be very dangerous. Okay? So you have to make sure people can understand what you want to say. Next, are you able to hold the reader's attention? So can people, like the previous SPM also, we have the word sustain. So do people want to read from the very beginning until the end? Okay, so this will include something also. If your essay memang tak berkenaan, you pusing satu dunia, and then the pembaca tak faham, so examiner will not be able to have the attention. So it will affect your marks as well for CA. Then, do you explain your ideas clearly? Are you able to use simple English, complex English to carry your message, to deliver your message across? Okay, and how straightforward are your ideas? Okay, all this come from Cambridge. Huh? So are your ideas very straightforward? Are you able to express? Are you able to tell? Okay, so the genre, we look at the register as well. Contohnya, if you're writing an email to your friend. So an email to your friend should sound very friendly, should sound informal. Okay, informal doesn't mean rude. Informal still means very friendly. Okay, can be very polite as well. So are you able to use that kind of language and register in your writing? Okay, then the tone, you have formal versus informal. Contohnya, if you're writing a report to your principal. So the language must be formal, the register must be formal, the genre is the report. Okay, so contohnya, you will not tell a pengetua, dear principal, okay, my friends are very lazy. Okay, they should do something. And then the school should, you mengarahkan your pengetua. That will be the wrong way of saying. Okay, so that will be the wrong tone, that will be the wrong register. Okay, then the function of your writing. Is it to introduce something? Is it to promote something? Okay, so that will be that. Next one, the organization. We are going to look more into the organization also. So organization, of course, it involves paragraphing. So you have to organize your paragraphs well, which means you need to have proper introduction, proper body, then proper ending. But of course, there will be essays that may not need paragraphing. For example, email. Okay, email may not need paragraphing. So one paragraph will do. Okay, but if you're writing a report, you may want to organize them into different subheadings, like what you have in your textbooks. So if your teachers have followed very closely to the textbooks, so I'm very sure you know how to paragraph your essays. Okay, paragraphing. Then your punctuation. Okay, punctuation refers to your capital letters, your small letters, your full stop, your commas, your question marks, and so on. So these are all the punctuations that you will be using, especially comma, full stop. Okay, so in your writing, they must be very clear. Then we have linking words. Okay, so linking words, you have words such as basic high frequency words such as and. We use and all the time. We use but all the time. Okay, we use so all the time. Okay, then we have phrasal items such as because, first of all, finally. So these are all the basic ones. But if you have all the basic ones, this does not mean you can get what do you call it? 5. Okay, 5 for organization. So these will only give you about 1 or 2 out of 5. Okay, then you have cohesive devices. So this is the higher level linking words here. So you have words such as moreover. Okay, you have furthermore. You have it may appear. Okay, then last one, you have organizational pattern. So organizational pattern, you will be having phrases like in order to do that, before he started his work, and so on. So you have all that. So there will be organizational pattern in writing. Okay, and the last one, you have language. So language, you have the grammar. Okay, of course, we look for grammar. What kind of tenses are you using? Is it the present tense? Is it the past tense? So do you know what tenses you are supposed to use, for example? If it is an article, you may choose to use present tense, okay, because it goes on, the whole thing is still there. Okay, if you're talking about pollution, the issue is still there. But if you're writing a report, so something that could have happened before, something that have actually happened in the past, so it will be reporting language, of course, and also past tense. Then if you're writing a story, a narrative, most of the time, if it's narrative, you retell the story. Most of the time, past tense will be used. Okay, then vocab. Are you using the correct vocab here? The thematic vocab. Okay, for example, if you're talking about study, if you're talking about reading, so do you have the vocab for that? If you're talking about shopping, so do you have the vocab? Are you describing shopping using the correct set of vocab? So that will be what we want. So that is why in your textbook, you can refer to your chapters. So this chapter is about holidays. We do have some words, like this chapter is about home, okay? Like the first chapter is about chores, is about doing housework. You have words such as doing housework, doing the chores, folding the sheets, doing the laundry. So all this comes from your first chapter, first unit, okay? Then you have higher level words, then complex grammatical forms. Hey, are you able to construct complex sentences, compound sentences, simple sentences? Okay, then do you have everyday words, simple vocab? So maybe for the first email, you do use simple everyday vocab. And also, if you're writing to your friend, you will not be using bombastic English. So you may use very accurate words, but you do use simple, everyday, friendly language. So all this will take into account. So if the mistakes are too bad, readers cannot understand. So of course, marks will be affected. Okay, so every criterion here will give you 5 marks. So for every essay, this will be 5, 5, 5, and 5. Okay? I'm very sure teachers have told you this, so just remember this. So let's look at the content. Okay, so if you fully answer the question, you get 5. If you don't answer one part of the question, you get 3 or 4, like what I mentioned. If you only answer a small part, you get 1 or 2. If you don't answer the question, you will get a 0. Okay, so for example, like content here. Okay, so you have where shall we go? What can we do there? What should we bring? So these will be the content that you have to fulfill. Mesti menjawab this soalan. Okay, if you only answer this part, where shall we go? What can we do? You don't answer what should we bring, you may get 3. Normally you don't get 4. Okay, 4 is you answer everything, but maybe something inconsistent or maybe something irrelevant. So you may get a 4. But if you miss out one question totally, you will get a 3 out of 5. Okay, so should be in about 80 words. Next, content. So this will be part 2. Your class has been discussing how they spend their money, and your teacher has asked you to write an essay about what you spend your money on. So in your essay, write about what you like to buy. So 1, content, reasons for your choice, Where do you usually buy these things? So you have to make sure you address all these three things. Huh? Okay, so this will be 125 to 150 words. Okay, so this was the CA I mentioned just now. Okay, let's look at some examples here. So we talk about communicative achievement. So look at this box. My school teachers are not as good as the other school teachers because they are not kind and understanding. So just now we talk about formality, we talk about the register as well. So whether or not, whether formal or informal, polite, not polite, these will all fall under CA. What do you think of this statement? My school teachers are not as good as other school teachers because they are not kind, they are not understanding. So this actually degrades your school teachers, right? Menjatuhkan marwah a bit. Correct. So this will be this should not happen in CA, should not be written in CA also, okay? Because this will not be a good communication. You don't degrade someone. If you look at this, as the mayor of this town, it is your responsibility to make sure this town is clean. You have to work harder, okay? So mayor is a Datuk Bandar. If you're writing a letter to Datuk Bandar, can you use this kind of language? It is your responsibility. Tugas awak. You have to work harder. Would you say that to your principal? Dear principal, you have to work harder. Principal, you have to be nicer. Principal, you have to make sure the school is clean. You tidak boleh mengarahkan your principal. So that kind of language is actually incorrect, wrong. So marks for CA will be affected as well. Okay, next one. So you have, dear lovely mother, I think I will buy my lovely sister, your loving daughter, a new watch as a gift. Okay, this one is under CA. Yeah? I know many Malaysians love to use the word lovely. My lovely sister, my lovely friend, my lovely teacher, my lovely, semua lovely. Okay, but be careful with this lovely because when it sounds unnatural, it doesn't sound genuine. Okay, it doesn't sound sincere. So this will be affected, the marks will be affected a bit also because it doesn't sound normal here. You don't keep saying lovely mother, lovely mother, lovely mother. You don't keep saying that, okay? Then you address everything as my lovely sister, your loving daughter. So this one doesn't sound straightforward as well, okay? It doesn't sound straightforward. So it affects the CA. Last one, this hotel is the worst. The service is horrible and the rooms are for animals. Okay, if you have done your chapter, your unit 10 or unit 11 in your textbook download, so you will see that the language should be very positive. Okay, you don't degrade someone like the first one. You don't degrade, tak menjatuhkan marwah. Okay, tak menghentam, and you don't hentam. If it's a review also, you will not say the hotel is horrible, the food is horrible. Okay, you don't say that in your review. The CA will be affected if you do that. Okay, you have to write it in a very positive way. Okay, so for example, the rooms can be better if, the service can be better if, okay, the food can be improved if. So that will be how you write the CA. Okay, so don't do this, huh? So now we look at organization. So we look at this. So if you have example like this, firstly, I love jogging because jogging makes me fit and healthy. I love jogging, but not swimming. So what do you think of this sentence? So it is a complete sentence. It is a good sentence. It is correct. But if you have organization, 5 marks here, how much would this get? So comment is text is connected and coherent. You have basic linking words and limited number of cohesive devices. So it's basic linking words. Okay. Then you have the connected means you have punctuation, you have full stops, you have commas. Then coherent, your text makes sense. So the comment is this. So you have and, but, because, and first of all. So these are all the basic words. So for this kind of sentences, for this kind of sentence, examiner will give you 1 mark. Hanya 1 markah daripada 5 markah for organization. If your whole essay is using this kind of simple and, because, and so, because this will be example of 1 mark organization. But if you have the whole essay complete, maybe 2 lah, but not 3. Okay, but not 3 because you don't have a variety of cohesive devices. So if you go back, if you look at your essays, if the whole essay is written using and, because, so, but, and, because, so, but. So this will be too simple to get a 2 or 3 marks, huh? So only 1 mark. So let's look at the other one. So if your text is generally well organized and coherent, and if you're able to use a variety of linking words and cohesive devices, such as, okay, so this will be the cohesive devices. So you are supposed to learn to use cohesive devices by now. There are 5 types that we look for in SPM. You have higher level linking words and phrases. You have reference pronouns. You have substitution. You have ellipsis. You have repetition. So these will be the 5 kinds of cohesive devices examiners will look for. But normally we have this. Normally students will use this. Normally students will use this. Normally students will have this. Okay. So most of the time when we see this, it's sufficient. So you can get 3 if you know how to use cohesive devices in your essays. Example. Okay. So higher level linking words and phrases, you have words such as moreover, however, on the one hand, on the other hand, furthermore, besides. So these will be the higher level linking words. So if you know how to use this correctly, accurately, it can help you to get 3 marks. And you have reference pronouns. Reference pronouns such as I like Alice. So if you repeat Alice is the best, if you ulang semula Alice is the best, it will become 1 mark, hanya 1 markah. But if you write I like Alice, she is the best, you can get 3 marks because you know how to use reference pronouns. And then you have I live in Kuching, which is the capital city of Sarawak. So instead of saying I live in Kuching, Kuching is the capital city of Sarawak. Okay, so if you repeat Kuching, and then it becomes simple sentence with no reference pronouns, so that will be a 1 mark. Okay, but because you have which this will be a cohesive device, it gives you extra marks here. So I've said it's risky, and this is why. So the word this, even though the word this is simple, but because you know how to use this, it's actually a 3 marks instead of 1 mark here. Okay, right, next one, we have substitution. For weaker candidates, they will use sentences like this. I like shopping and my friends like shopping as well. And then better sentences, I like shopping and my friends do as well. So the word do here replaces a lot of things. My friends like shopping. Okay, so because of the word do here, walaupun just 1 do, it is a better sentence. It gives you 3 marks instead of just 1 mark. Okay, next one, you have ellipsis, the 2 things I did not explain just now. So ellipsis, example like this. My brothers are very active in school. So both my brothers are incredibly athletic. So if you say, oh, my brothers are very active in school, both are. You don't have my brothers anymore. It's a form of ellipsis. It shows that you know how to construct sentences well using ellipsis. So both are incredibly athletic. So this will give you extra marks for cohesive devices. Next one, I usually go to school by bus, but I sometimes go to school by car. If you cancel this, so your sentence becomes, I usually go to school by bus, but sometimes by car. So this will be ellipsis. This will be a 3 marks as well. Okay. Next one, you have repetition. So normally repetition is used to show emphasis. At times, mostly used in writing narrative stories. So example, the students who work hard, there are students who work hard, there are students who do not work as hard, and finally there are also students who are plain lazy. You can see it's repeated, they are students, they are students, they are students. But if it's to show emphasis here, untuk memberikan pemberatan, so it will be a very good form of cohesive devices. So if you can use a few of this, if you can use this, if you can use this, if you can use this in your writing, you can score a 3. Daripada if you use this just now. Daripada the simple sentences like I like Alice, Alice is the best. Okay, so if you use simple sentences, there will be lower level, okay, lower marks here. Here you can get 3 marks. Okay, next one. Let's look at this. If your text is well organized and coherent, you use a variety of cohesive devices and organizational patterns. So this is something that we look for, organizational patterns here. You can get 5 marks, okay? So it's a higher level. So let me give you an example here. One reason I like my smartphone is that. So sometimes when we write, we do have, if you refer to the reading text just now, you do have text like that. The main reason we do things is because. The second reason is, another reason is that. So if you can write like this to organize your essay, you will get better marks for organization. It will be a 5. Okay. after the men finished the work, before I started my routine, then later, and so on. So you have a mixture of all that. That will be all organizational patterns. Like in order for all that to happen, since I was unable to help him, then to make matters worse. So all this will be very good organizational patterns if you're writing your story or writing your essays. Not wanting to give up. He. As I was about to cross the street, okay, it all started when. So these are some examples of organizational patterns. So to my surprise, he, okay? Right. The next one. So you can see, how do you improve yourself writing? Okay, well, how do you improve your writing using cohesive devices? You look at the sentence here, the sentences here. Ali was walking to the store. Ali saw a cat. Repeated, Ali and Ali. The cat was under a tree. The cat was injured. This will be standard 2 or standard 3 sentences. Standard 2 or standard 3 sentences. So if you want to improvise, this will be a better one. As Ali was walking to the store, he saw a cat under a tree and it was injured. So you have as, then he. The he replaces Ali. Okay? So instead of using Ali saw a cat, repeating, he. So definitely this will be a 3 marks already. This one is 1 mark. This will be 3 marks. And it was. So you have a simple form of simple linker, okay, and then you have as, and then you have a reference pronoun, he. So another example, first, the students did not like to attend extra classes. Students prefer sports. Here you have first, this is a simple linker, then another sentence here. So this will be 1 mark. If you want to get higher marks, one of the main reasons students gave was that. So this will be organizational pattern, was that they did not like to attend extra classes as they prefer sports. As, very good use of linker. So definitely this is 5 marks here. Okay, 5 marks. This will be 1 mark. Another example, I like the movie a lot because the movie is interesting. Then ulang lagi. The movie, okay, has a lot of action scenes. So you see the movie here once, the movie here again, then a movie here again. So 3 times repeated. So overall, okay, you have this organizational pattern, or you can say that this is a cohesive. I like the movie a lot because it. So this one, it is a reference pronoun. You have a conjunction, you have a linker, and it has a lot of action scenes. Okay, so this will be a much better one. This is 1 mark. This will be 3 marks here. Okay, at least 3 marks. But you can see this will be 1. This will be 5. Okay, very different marks. So as you're writing, don't keep repeating the person's name. Okay, Ali saw him, Ali saw him, Ali went over, Ali said hi, Ali ulang, Ali. Okay, so learn to use other kinds of pronouns. And then you have to make a sentence a bit longer. It doesn't mean you have to make it very long. Okay, so what you have to know about cohesive devices. So like what I mentioned just now, they are linkers used to link ideas and clauses together. Okay, so you have all these examples. So these will be the 3 marks just now, at least 3 marks. However, therefore, meanwhile, and so on. So on the one hand, for example, furthermore, in addition. Okay, so if you are very good, one problem is do not overuse your cohesive devices. Do not overuse. You can use some. Okay, you can use in some places, but not all. If you look at this, to start with, governments need to take action. For example, they could raise taxes on imported goods. However, this will likely cause tensions. Therefore, for one thing, you have too many in one small paragraph here. Okay, so if you have only a few, maybe 2 or 3, that will be sufficient. Okay, so that is why I will never ask my students to memorize cohesive devices, because you cannot memorize cohesive devices. It has to come very naturally. Use it, keep using it. And then sometimes you may have some cohesive devices suitable for you. Maybe you think you like meanwhile. Some of you may like however. Some of you may like furthermore or besides. So you keep using the same thing. You don't have to memorize and belajar the cohesive devices. No. Use the things that are relevant to you, the things that you know you can use, the things that you are very confident in using. Okay? And you have problem number 2. Misusing cohesive devices. They have to be very accurate. especially with the word however, on the other hand, on the one hand, or otherwise. Okay, so it means a contrast. Okay, so here in this case, it's wrongly used here. However, or therefore will be the same thing, but the answer should be however. It has been suggested. So this is a misused cohesive device. Okay, so one more thing, cohesive device will be a same package. You cannot change it. Here, on the one hand is correct. On the on hand is wrong. So it's like one whole package here. You don't change. Like first of all, it is just first of all. You don't say first and most of all. It is unnatural and it is wrong. Okay, like in conclusion, you don't say inconclusionally. Tak ada benda macam tu. Okay, and in Malaysians, you love this. For an example, tak ada. For an example. Sebagai satu contoh, in bahasa Melayu, you have sebagai satu contoh. But in English, you don't have for an example. For in English, you have for example, just that. Okay, just for example. Tak ada for an example. And one more thing, besides, okay, besides with an S, that will be the correct one. Besides, comma. Okay, not beside that. We don't have beside that. Beside that what? That building. That's di sebelah bangunan tersebut. Okay, so when cohesive devices are wrongly used, then they are wrong. Okay. Next one. So avoid informal. Okay, so informal or very outdated cohesive devices. So it might not really happen. So last but not least, we still accept this lah. It's just that it's informal. So you don't really, you can use this when you are giving a speech. Last but not least, no problem. If you are in a debate, no problem. Okay. But if you're writing to your principal, if it's a very formal report, you may not want to use this. Okay, then to recapitulate, so this is a bit outdated. But in Malaysia, sometimes we do still use it. Okay. So remember, if you're using cohesive devices, do not overuse, don't modify them, don't use the inappropriate ones. If you're writing something to your principal, writing something to your friend, you do use different kinds of cohesive devices. Huh? Okay. So if you look at this, what is wrong with this paragraph? So on the one hand, students can visit the canteen during the afternoon in order to meet friends and study together. You have on the one hand, you have in order to. Consequently, they can become happier and learn more. You have consequently. Then as a result, same thing. Consequently, as a result, there will be the same thing. Okay. However, there are some drawbacks to this situation. For example, students could find themselves spending too much time there. Clearly, this is fraught with problems. For one thing, okay, so I think you can guess. The problem is it has too many cohesive devices. There are just too many cohesive devices. You have on the one hand, you have consequently, you have in order to, you have as a result, you have however, you have for example, clearly. So when you are writing, there are times you don't need cohesive devices. There are times you do have to put some in. So you need to find the balance between your writing, in your writing. Okay, whether or not you should put cohesive devices in here, or maybe in this paragraph. If you want to emphasize more things, you put them in. Okay. So the fourth thing, just now we had covered content, your CA, then organization, then the language. So you have thematic vocab that you have to focus on. So for example, vacation. If you talk about vacation, we'll be looking for words like this. Hotel. My voice is too soft. Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Has it been very soft just now? Okay, so let me go on. So hotel rate, okay, for vacation, we'll be looking for words such as hotel rates, lush greenery, haven, paradise. So these will be the thematic words that you have to put in if you are talking about vacation. Okay, so you get this from your textbook actually in Form 4 and in Form 5. Okay, so last year in Form 4, you had this very thick full blast textbook, and then you had 8 topics. Okay, 8 topics from environment, and then you have something to do with technology, with Facebook, with friends, and so on. So every unit from Form 4, Form 5, you have different, it caters to a different set of top vocab. Okay, then you also have social media language, such as this, connectivity in just a click within the comfort of one's home. Okay, convenient, instant, borderless, sharing files, posting messages, sending text messages, fast charging. So you do have words to do with social media. So how do examiners actually give marks on your language, the vocab, based on this? Okay, so if you have a textbook, you can always go through your textbook. Don't think your textbooks are not useful. It's not just for you to answer the questions, true, false, and so on. Because if you look at your textbook, at the writing part, writing section, you have the language bank. Okay, that will be very useful to you. And also, if it's to do with movies and films, you have things like this. At the edge of your seat, cinematic, cinematography, suspense, sound effect, thrilling, OST, acting skills, setting, reaction, jaw dropping. If you do not know a lot of things that I have posted here, which means you do have things you have to study for English. Okay, don't tell your friends or your teachers or your parents, ala English senang, detikam je lah writing. No, because these will be the things examiners look for when you're writing something to do with themes, okay, with themes. So we will be looking for this, okay? So to sum up the 4 things we have discussed earlier for content, did you answer all the questions? If there are 4 bullets, answer the 4 bullets. If there are 3, answer the 3. Then as for CA, is your essay straightforward? Did you beat around the bush? Pusing satu kampung, then you come back. Okay, did you write the correct genre? Okay, if it's an article, it should be an article. Did you use the correct register and tone? Is it polite? Is it very hurtful? Is it very rude? Okay, organization. Did you organize your essay well? Are the paragraphs written? Did you punctuate your essays correctly? Did you use linkers, cohesive devices accurately? Okay, then for language, did you use the correct tense or tenses? So did you use the appropriate vocab? So these will be the things you have to look at. So every part will give you 5 marks, 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay, so if you can get 5, 5, 5, 5 for an email, of course, it's very good. But the thing is, if you get 5, 5, 5, 5 for email, it does not mean you can get 5, 5, 5, 5 for report, because the level of difficulty, it goes up. Okay, it increases as you answer the second part and the third part. Okay, so maybe you can get 5, 5, 5, 5 for email, but when it comes to report, when it comes to the article, you may be getting maybe 4, 3, 3, 4, which is very possible as well. Okay, so extra reminders here. So if your essay is too short, too long, don't worry. Okay, because your marks will not be deducted. Examiners will not count the number of words. Okay, they don't count. But the problem is this. For example, if you have memorized a review, if you mati-mati, you go and memorize one review, then suddenly exam came out, then you are very, it comes on exam, you are very happy. Then your review is about 3 pages. First of all, it may be too long. It may be irrelevant sometimes. There will be parts where it's irrelevant. And then you may be wasting your time writing. Okay, you will be wasting your time. And then remember, you have 2 other questions to answer. That's overlength, terlalu panjang. If it is too short, examiners have nothing to check. Too short, examiner tak tahu nak mark apa. Maybe you have not answered the questions. And if you answer the 3 bullets, mungkin the 3 point, tapi tidak dihuraikan. Not much explanation, not much discussion, so nothing to mark. So of course, cannot give you too many marks there. Okay, then lifting from the input is very dangerous. Do not salin the soalan. Okay, later I'll give you one example. How do you salin the soalan? Okay, so do not copy the question. So these are the things that will cause people to lose marks in your writing. Okay, so let's look at the first one. So dear Maria, I hope you're in the pink of health. I also hope you are hale and hearty and as fit as a fiddle. Remember to get enough rest and sleep well. Sleep early at night so you can wake up at the crack of dawn. As you know, the early bird catches the worm. You must also eat well because you're what you eat. Eat more leafy vegetables and fruits, as an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Lastly, prevention is better than cure. What do you think of this essay? Okay, let me answer. Okay, it has a lot of idioms. It has a lot of proverbs as well. Okay, so I know Malaysian students, they love to memorize, especially the ones that pergi tuition classes. Your teacher gives you the whole list of proverbs, idioms. Okay, masukkan ni, confirm dapat marks. Let me tell you, no. You do not need a lot of idioms. Sometimes if you don't have idioms at all, you can still score well. Okay, you don't need idioms, you don't really need proverbs. If you want to put one, will be enough. If you have too many things here, it sounds very unnatural, tidak normal. Okay, it doesn't sound like a normal email. So this will affect the CA, this will affect the CA, and as well this will affect the content because it's very weird, very pelik. Okay, so excessive use of idiomatic phrases, proverbs, wise sayings. Don't do this. You can use one, two will be too many already. Okay, so one, maximum two in one essay. Cukup. Okay, examiner will know that it's sufficient. So no. Okay, next one. If you look at the next example, it is so sweet to hear from you. Let us go for a picnic. I will bring a long, mouth-watering menu and a wide variety of drinks. We can also play enthusiastic sports, and then we will have a health body. Donnie will join us, and we will have a spectacular and breathtaking weekend. You do see some big words here. Okay, mouth-watering, then enthusiastic, then you have spectacular, then you have breathtaking. What do you think of this paragraph? Okay, so you can see that the words are not actually accurately used. Okay, so let me some other examples. Like for an example, I am agree with you, my lovely friend, dear principal, in the same time. Okay, also you have some problem there. So it will be wrong choice, wrong word choice, like enthusiastic sport, spectacular, breathtaking weekend. You don't really need to describe it like this. A great weekend will do. Sometimes we want simple idea. A great weekend, amazing weekend will do. Okay, so and then also a health body. The word health is wrongly used, wrongly understood by the candidate, for example. Okay, so for an example, I mentioned to you just now, I'm agree also I mentioned, wait, I'm agree with is a very common Malaysian error. So I am agree with you, salah. No am at all. So for an example, don't use this, don't use this. I agree with you. So my lovely friend, don't need lovely, lovely. Don't need my cute friend, my beautiful friend. Tak payah all these things. If you keep saying in your writing to your examiner, my cute friend Sally told me, then my cute friend Sally said, my cute friend, my lovely friend Sally said, it sounds very unnatural, very pelik. Okay, I know some girls that love to do that. My lovely BFF, my beautiful BFF. You don't have to keep telling people your BFF is beautiful. Actually, examiners don't care. Okay, we don't even care. So don't put that in because it becomes very annoying, very irritating. Then the word principal. Okay, make sure you know you're writing to your principal. This is wrong. It should be P-A-L. Okay, so if you put this in, it shows the examiner tak paham. Okay, you salah guna. In the same time, wrong use of preposition at the same time. Okay, so the second pitfall in writing, meaning the second mistake, wrong word choice, inaccurate vocab. So be careful as you are writing, read and reread whether or not it's correct. Okay, next one, the third pitfall. Okay, we have mentioned this, or we have discussed this now, the inaccurate use of cohesive devices. So they are all wrongly used. So we don't, so remember this. Okay, talk about this now already. Next one. Okay, next pitfall, if you look at this, second question. Your classmates have been discussing some free time activities that teenagers enjoy, and your teachers ask you to write an essay on how you utilize your leisure time. So this is the question given to you. Let us look at the response. My classmates have been discussing some free time activities that teenagers enjoy, and my teachers asked me to write an essay on how I utilize my time. You see that this jawapan changes the you to my, changes the you to my, then to me, and then I. So this was what I meant just now by lifting, means you copy from the question. So weaker candidates may do this. You take the question from the soalan here, then you make this your first paragraph. This is lifting. So in buku panduan lembaga peperiksaan, don't lift. Do not change the soalan, make it into your first paragraph. Okay? All right, so don't do this. It's not accurate. It's not correct, actually. Okay, one more pitfall. Dear principal, you must upgrade the canteen. You should buy us the new tables and benches for us. Okay? Then Ali, you must exercise because you are very fat and ugly. People die fast if they are fat. What do you think of the language? All the schools are better than our school. We are lousy. Okay, dear sir, I've carried out a survey and I found that many students didn't like reading. The food in this restaurant is horrible. You should learn to be like me because I am the best. Okay, so the problem here is this one is very what do you call that? Giving orders to your principal. Okay, you give orders, you mengarahkan your principal. This will be the wrong CA. The CA marks will go down. Communicative achievement marks will go down because it sounds a bit rude. You tidak boleh mengarahkan your pengetua. And here you are very hurtful. Okay, and then in your CA also, the CA will also go down. You are talking about things that make people feel hurt. It shouldn't happen. Okay, here you are degrading the school. Malaysia is a very lousy country if compared to Singapore. Malaysia is lousy if compared to England. If you write that in an exam, the CA will go down. Huh? You do not degrade. Jangan merendahkan negeri, sekolah sendiri atau orang lain. Huh? Like you cannot say other countries are very lousy also. We are the best. No, it sounds too proud. Terlalu bangga. Okay, terlalu bangga. So it's a bit rude as well. The food in this restaurant is horrible. So if you have noticed in your book also, it teaches you to write, we have to improvise. Maybe the food can be improved by, maybe we can have a healthier choice if the food has lesser salt or lesser sugar, maybe. Then this one is terlalu sombong. Okay, terlalu sombong. So you should learn to be like me, I'm the best. No. Okay, you don't use this kind of CA also. How about this one? Dear sir, I've carried out. This one is actually on the use of contractions. Use of contractions like didn't and so on will be used in writing a dialogue. If you're writing a narrative, boleh. If you're writing a story, you can use I have, I didn't like, I don't like, I cannot, I couldn't, I can't, you can. But if you're writing a report, you should not be using all these contractions. Report article should be using in full. 20 students did not complete their work. You don't say 20 students didn't. 20 students couldn't. It will be 20 students could not, 20 students did not. Okay, so here you have the wrong register, the wrong tone, very hurtful, very intimidating, very daunting, very demanding, very sarcastic, very rude, and very improper. So this is very demanding here. Okay, meminta-minta. Okay, very demanding. So these are all the wrong registers. These are all the pitfalls in writing. So just make sure as you're writing, you avoid all of them. Okay, so far, any problem? We have a few more minutes to complete. Okay, so let's do this. You're not going to write, okay? So you don't have to write. So you have this one. So you have received an email from your new friend, Amy, who has just moved to your hometown. You have seen this question, I think, more than 1,000 times already. So the school holiday is finally here. Let's go for a picnic with our friends. Where shall we go? What can we do? So the 3 questions here. So look at the sample. So hi, Amy. I'm so glad that you brought this up, as I had nothing planned for the holidays. I'm totally excited and I know just the place for our picnic. It will be at City Park, just next to the newly opened shopping mall in town. So this answers where should we go, okay? We could also skate there as the park is huge. So what can you do there? Okay, so don't forget to bring an extra mat to place our foods on just in case I lost mine. Don't worry about the supplies, I can handle them, though you could bring some snacks if you like to. The more the better. I was also thinking we could have Johan and Andrews come. It will be more fun with them around. All right, do update me if something comes up, fine. So first of all, the content, menjawab semua soalan, the 3 questions, where to go, what to bring, what to do, all answered. So content can get a 5, okay? Then CA is written to a friend. It sounds very friendly. It doesn't sound threatening. Okay? It sounds very nice and sweet just for a friend. So, okay, this will get a 5. Okay, then as for the organization, you have words such as I had nothing to do, the word as, then and, okay, so you have as the park is huge, just in case. So all this will be linkers, all this will be organizational patterns here. So, and then I was also thinking that, so the word that. Okay, so for email, this can get a 5 for organization, and they are used correctly. Then for language, of course, you can see no grammatical error, nothing planned for the holidays. This will be a correct phrase to talk about holidays. Just a place, very good. Okay, newly opened shopping mall. So we could skate there. The park is huge. So match to place our foots on. The very accurate use of preposition here. Place our foots on, just in case I lost mine. So though you could bring some snacks if you like to. Right, so the more the merrier. Yeah, so this one, the more the better, right? So this will be correct use of words and phrases and also things. If you look at this one, extra mat, all this will be picnic words. Mat, snacks. So this will get 5. So this email received a 20 marks. Okay, 20 marks here. Very simple, very polite, very nice. Okay, so task 2. Okay, so this will be another email. You receive an email from a friend, Alif, who is studying in a boarding school in another town. He is coming back for the school holidays. So understand the question. Your friend studies in a boarding school, but is coming back for the holidays. So look at this one. Hi, Rizal. How have you been? Anyway, I hope you're available this coming school break because I'm coming home for 2 weeks. You see the use of contractions because you're writing to a friend. So it's correct. You can use contractions like this. I'm coming home. Okay, let's do something. Instead of saying let us do something, it is let's do something. So it's more natural because you're writing to your friend. Something adventurous this time. Where do you think we should explore? What can we do there? Let me know if I need to bring anything in particular. Should we ask Nicholas to join us? Hope to hear from you soon. So now you have to reply to this email. So the thing that you have to focus on. Okay. Something adventurous. So question is, what or where do you think we should go? What can we do there? Let me know if I need to bring anything in particular. So quite similar to the question just now. So should we ask Nicholas to join us? So there are 4 questions here. Okay. So you have, hi Alif, thank you for your wonderful email. It's so nice to hear from you. School holidays is the time for us to relax and unwind. Do you know that it is pivotal for us, okay, to take some time off and smell the roses? Life is a box of chocolates and we should enjoy ourselves too. I think we should go to the beach and have a picnic. We can see the crystal clear water and the white sandy beach. It will be invigorating to drink coconut water, which is very revitalizing and good for our health. We need to drink a lot of water. We can play on the beach and collect seashells to make scrapbooks. We do not need to ask Nicholas. He's not a nice friend because a friend in need is a friend indeed. So do you think it's very polite, this email? It has a lot of proverbs here and there. Okay. Great. It has a lot of proverbs here and there. Life is a box of chocolate. Relax and unwind. Then a friend in need is a friend indeed. Then we don't need to ask Nicholas. He's not nice. So this one doesn't sound too polite also. Then all of a sudden it's telling the friend, it is important to take break and smell the roses. Life is a box of chocolate. So you can see that dumping everything in, which don't make sense, will affect the essay. Okay. Then all of a sudden it will be invigorating to drink coconut water, which is very revitalizing. Why would you tell a friend that? Of course, your friend knows drinking coconut water is good. Okay. Then the word revitalizing. You will use this if you're writing an article, maybe, but not writing to your friend. Then we can play on the beach and collect seashells to make scrapbooks, maybe. Okay. Maybe okay. So we can see that it's not very natural. So this is not a very good sample of not a very good writing. So if you look at the better one. So hi Alif, you're coming back. So it sounds more natural here. So and then friendly. That's such a great news. It's a lucky thing I'm not doing anything this break, so I'll be free to join you. So the sentence is much more natural here. Since you are keen on doing something thrilling, so the thematic vocab, adventurous, thrilling, we should go caving in Gua Tempurung Perak. In addition to that cohesive device, it is one of the longest caves in Peninsular Malaysia and popular among caving enthusiasts. Again, very thematic word. Okay, very thematic choice. There we can see the amazing rock formations, stalactites and stalagmites. This is giving information here. Okay. Not only that, very good organization. I've read that there are cave creatures like the albino millipedes, crickets, spiders, and bats. If you're up for it, good organization. Make sure you bring your caving equipment, especially a pair of study shoes, helmet, head torch, as well as climbing gear. We should definitely ask Nicholas to come along as he loves exciting activities too. Please reply me soon. Can't wait. You can see very informal, very friendly. Then you have a lot of thematic vocab. So it will be very good. So where to go is answered here. Gua Tempurung Perak. Then what to do? You can see the rock formations. Then you have what to bring, the caving equipment. Then Nicholas. We should ask Nicholas to come along. Okay, so you can see this one will be the cohesive device, the organizational pattern, since you are keen on doing something thrilling. In addition to that, not only that, if you're up for it, then you have the thematic vocab, caving enthusiast. Okay, so all these things will be to do with the thematic vocab. Caving equipment, sturdy shoes, climbing gear. You have learned this in Form 3. Okay, in Form 3, caving. So basically, you should know a bit. So this, of course, will be a much better response to the email. Okay? Okay so far? So Rizam, what time should I stop? 1, right?
Yes, sir. Pukul 1. Betul.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So just now there was someone who raised hand then. If a student words are too small. Okay.
Okay, ada tak pelajar yang nak lontarkan soalan ke? Beri soalan ke ataupun bertanyakan sesuatu pada Cikgu Bobby?
Okay, if a student writes a perfect essay for part 3 as he memorized it, but writes a poorly for part 1 and 2, can we penalize the essay and give a lower grade? You mean you want to penalize part 3? This is the good thing about CFR. Huh? So every essay will be marked independently, meaning they will be marked individually. So the candidate can get very good marks for the first essay, but may not be able to get very good marks for the second one and third one. So that's why we are marking it individually. So it's very different from the previous SPM. Previous SPM, both essays will correlate. Okay, but now this one, we can see that we are marking maybe the first email is very good, but second one is not so good, but the third one can be very good as well. So we are marking that as it is, okay, as individual essays. All right, I suppose this will be a teacher, right? Cikgu Faizai. Okay, so any more questions? Okay, if there are no questions, I'll move on to the next. Okay, so this one also comes from a sample booklet. So you have 3 questions to address. About my school canteen, what other types of food would you like to be served? What special facilities should a canteen have? How can it improve your canteen? So if you have this, okay, so look at the response. I'm sorry if it's very small, okay, but if you check, if you are listening to this or watching this on your laptop, I think should be okay, right? Okay, then if you have in this era of globalization, every school has their own canteen. Now, this one is a very memorized. I think a lot of students love to use this. In Bahasa Melayu also, they like to use this, okay? Era globalisasi and so on. Huh? But you can use it if the context is correct. But if the context is incorrect, not accurate, it will be out of the context. Okay, so whatever things you memorize, whatever things you want to use in this day and age, in this era of globalization, okay, in this modern technology era and so on. For paper 1 and paper 2. Berapa dapat A? Okay, this one I will show you later. All right. So before I stop everything, huh? So then, I'm not sure about how other schools' canteens are like, but I believe they have their own specialties. For example, the food they serve and so on. Okay, so the rest will be okay. So This one will be quite okay. Okay, now if you look at this one. So however, these foods are very oily and they make students sleepy after recess. Because of that, I want my school to start serving healthy food like sandwiches and fruits. Okay, my school canteen must know that these foods are good for students. So these two lines here can sound a bit demanding. Okay, I want my school to start serving. So maybe you want to change it in a nicer way, in a very subtle way. The canteen could serve, for example, or maybe the canteen can serve, or perhaps the canteen would serve. Okay, so my school canteen must know that these foods are good for students. This one tak perlu because it doesn't really make sense here. Of course, if you are a canteen operator, you know that these foods are good. So it will be out of context a bit. Okay, so this one, the idea is that it's a bit demanding here. All right. Okay. So this one is an article on healthy eating. So what should people eat? What should people eat? Young people. Focus is on young people. If you notice, focus on young people. What should young people eat to stay healthy? What should young people drink to stay healthy? What should young people eat? So focus is on young people, is on health magazine, on healthy eating. So let us look at this one. Oh, simple introduction. So many teenagers love to eat. They eat the wrong types of food. This could lead them to health problems. So this by right is already quite a good introduction. Nothing wrong here. Okay, no error. Then you have the use of reference pronouns. They, this could lead them to health problems. By right, this is already quite good. About 3 marks, okay, for organization. So if you want to improvise this, it has been a common fact that many teenagers enjoy themselves indulging in food. So you have that again. This will be reference pronouns. Indulging, very good word to replace the word eat. Okay. Unfortunately, some of them eat the wrong types of food at the wrong hours, and this could lead them to health problems. So you have the word unfortunately. It creates a contrast, and of course, it sounds more professional here. Okay, more development of ideas as compared to the first one, even though they are talking about the same thing. Okay, so whenever you write, you try to write and then you try to improvise. If you have time. If you don't have time, don't do that in exam. Don't waste your time in exam. Okay, so we move on to paragraph 1. Simple ideas. Simple already, very long, quite good already. Teenagers should eat a lot of vegetables and fruits. Vegetables and fruits contain a lot of vitamins and minerals that teenagers need. Teenagers too should eat a lot of whole grains, which are barley, oatmeal, brown rice, and many more. Grains give them energy. Teenagers should also eat protein-based, blah, 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 and so on. Teenagers should not. So if you look at this, teenagers should. Teenagers too should. Teenagers should also. Teenagers should not. So a lot of should and should not. So how do you improvise this? So you throw in some organizational patterns here. To begin with, for example, instead of using firstly, instead of using first, you can say to begin with. Teenagers should consume. Because it's an article, you can use the word consume. Consume plenty of vegetables and fruits as they are rich in minerals, as they are rich in vitamins and minerals that are required by teenagers. So instead of using the word need, use the word required. So higher level, of course, the language will become, the vocab will become better. In addition to that, okay, teenagers should also eat more grains like barley, okay, than oatmeal and brown rice, because these, so the word these will refer to the barley and so on, give them energy. So them referring to teenagers. At the same time, again, okay, a good cohesive device. Teenagers should take in protein. Instead of using the word eat again, take in protein-based foods such as meat and fish. However, it is not advisable for them to consume food high in fat, sugar, and salt. So you will see this is simple. This will be a bit better, okay, a bit better or much better, okay. More organized, more organizational phrases and so on. Then you have the same thing. It's advisable for teenagers and so on and so forth. So this will be much better. So to stay healthy, Okay, so at the same time, therefore, so if you are able to add a bit of cohesive devices or organizational patterns, you can see that your whole essay will change. Okay, your essay will change. So right now, what you can do is always try to improvise, always try to write. So the thing about you, students, all students, what you can do is you have to keep writing, keep improvising, and do not just write and then you tutup buku and you think you are done. You have to reread, baca semula your karangan, and you have to see where I can tambah. I can tambah a better word, for example. I can change using a better word. I can change using a better cohesive device, for example. That's how you improvise. Okay, if you were to ask me, Cikgu, how to improve, Cikgu, how to make my essay better, and this is how. Look at the first sample, your first essay, then improvise. Then your second essay, improvise. So this is how you will have better essays. Okay. We don't have much time, so we look at the conclusion. Okay, if teenagers get proper nutrition at the right time, the body will grow healthily, the brains too will develop well. So you can throw in conclusion, to conclude, or needless to say. If teenagers get proper nutrition at the right time, their body will grow. Moreover, so a good cohesive device here, their brains too will develop well. So it is just like an accessory there. Put them in, but to make it better. But remember, don't throw in too many. Okay, like this, it could be too many also, but I just want to show you how you can improvise. Okay, so just now there was one question. So give me a few seconds. Hold on. A few seconds. Okay, just now someone asked what marks to get, right? Okay, so if you look at this one, okay, so this will be one set of marks. This will be one set of marks here. So looking at the at writing paper here. Okay, so if you're able to, if you want to get an A, okay, so for email you should get about 16 email. Then you should get about 14 for the second one. If you can get 10, you get 40. So the weightage is 16.67. Okay, so the thing is, of course, if you can get higher, it will be better. But if you're only getting a 10 for the email, 10 for the second one, 8 for the third one, because it's much more difficult. You can see that the third one will give you lower, sometimes lower marks, because normally email is the easiest to write, okay, then the easiest to score. So even if your email is here, the language, if you write the same level of language for the for the three essays, when it comes to the third one, the marks will be much lower. That is how CFR goes. Okay, first essay can be very high, second essay will be a bit lower, third essay will be a bit lower than that. Unless if you are really good, you are really consistent, then if you are really a good scorer, a good writer, then you can score 2019, for example. Okay, but in this case, if you want to score an A in SPM, you should get about 30 marks for reading. You can get 18.75. Then for paper 2, if you can get 40, you get 16.67. Then for speaking, if you can get 18, then you can get 18.75. I think your teachers have briefed you on that. For listening, if you can get 30, 20, so you can get 74 and A minus. Okay, so if you want to get an A, of course you have to score in your email. Second one, then third one, it depends. If you are very lucky, you get a question that you are very, very skillful with, then you can get better. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. If the candidate, if the candidate writes memorized essay, will the essay be assessed for L and CA? Okay, so somehow, so always tell your students to get, if he or she doesn't actually understand the question at all, try to get at least some gist of the essay, of the question. If examiners can detect that he or she is answering a little bit with a little bit of reference to the question, maybe they will still get a 1 for content. If they get a 1 for content, then they can still be assessed normally for CA, O, and L. Okay, so make sure the students can understand the question, find a gist to relate to it a little bit. That will be safe. Okay, but memorized essay, it will depend on how intelligent the essay is actually memorized. Some candidates, they can be very skillful when it comes to memorizing. They know how to chop the beginning, the ending, and the beginning and the body part. So when it comes to examination purpose, sometimes if it's not wholesome lifting or wholesome memorization, I think examiners will still mark as normal. Yes, Hilmi? Hilmi has been raising hands and left the meeting. Okay?
Ya, Helmi,
So-
silakan. Cikgu.
Okay, so teacher, I hope that answers your question. Huh? If it's very skillful lifting, very skillful memorization, then okay. Okay, then sometimes it will be marked as normal, meaning he or she knows how to edit a bit here and there. It will not be considered as wholesome memorization. Okay, so I think I'm at the end of the presentation. So if there are no questions, I will pass the session back to Cikgu Rizam.
Okey, student ataupun pelajar yang saya kasihi, ada tak soalan-soalan yang nak dilontarkan kepada Cikgu Bobby ataupun ada tak rakan-rakan guru daripada mana-mana sekolah yang nak bertanyakan sesuatu kepada Cikgu Bobby? Kita buka ruang sikitlah untuk sesi pertanyaan. Ada tak student yang nak tanya? Oh. Respond. Thank you, sir. Alright. Okay. Cikgu Bobby, saya rasa macam tak ada kot.
Okay. Boleh. No problem.
Okay. Okay, baiklah. Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Cikgu Bobby. Diberikanlah tadi perkongsian ilmu yang amat berguna lah, yang bermanfaat, yang telah disampaikan oleh Cikgu Bobby Chasing, okay, daripada SMK Taman Desa Sekudah Johor Bahru. Semoga segala maklumat dan panduan yang diberikan kepada semasa ceramah itu tadi akan dapat membantulah anak-anak pelajar untuk menjawab kertas bahasa Inggeris lah dalam peperiksaan SPM nanti, insyaAllah. So sama-sama kita berdoalah agar mereka semua ini dapat berjaya. Baik, untuk pengetahuan semua, kita akan sambung pada jam 2 petang, insyaAllah. Jam 1 hingga jam 2 adalah waktu rehat dan solat ya. Dan sekali lagi saya mohon berikan tepukan gemuruh kepada Cikgu Bobby.
Okay, thank you. Right. Okay.
Cikgu Bobby, untuk pengantar Cikgu Bobby, CJ penghargaan dan juga token akan dihantar menggunakan pos Cikgu Bobby.
Okay, boleh. Alright.
Okay,
thank you, Cikgu
Baiklah,
Rizam.
terima kasih
Okay, thank you everyone.
kepada
Alright.
Cikgu Bobby. Okay.